well, sir, let's shoot it. Back out here again today. Got another video I want to do. I want to talk a little bit about how to properly hold a handgun, depending on what type it is. A lot of folks coming into the gun ownership, never had a gun before, never fired a gun, handled one. They don't know a lot about them. So I want to kind of talk about that just a little bit. We're going to start out. I've got a little Taurus GX4 semi-auto. It's empty. And I want to talk about how to properly hold the gun. A lot of folks don't know, never had one, never fired one. I see them there a couple weeks ago. I talked to some people, and they were looking at one of these, or it was a compact like this, and they were holding it, and they'd grab it like this, and then they'd want to double stack. They'd want to put their hand on top of their other hand and do it like that. See, the issue with that, and I explained it to them, is if you double stack your hands on there like this, I'll come up here and try to give you a visual of it. You see your gun like that, you double stack your hands, what's going to happen when that slide comes back to load the next round, it's going to tear the meat out between your finger there. I've seen it done before. Years back, a fella had never fired a gun. He took a little old 380 there, and he said, "Don't shoot that gun," little old Davis Industries. He threw that thing up, he pulled the trigger, and he tore the meat right out between his fingers right there. So, if you're a new gun owner, you don't know a whole lot about them, haven't fired one, that's a little idea for you. Just one hand, and then take your other hand and put it here. Put your thumb on top of your other thumb. You see how I got it there? And that's how you want to hold it. Never put your hand on top of your other hand. Like this. Grab your hand, thumb on top of your other thumb. So that's how you want to do a small semi-automatic. Now your larger semi-automatics, like your 1911s, you got a beaver tail on the back of them. You grab it, your hand is covered by the beaver tail, one hand. If you haven't never fired one before, this might give you an idea that you're not supposed to put your other hand above that. If you don't, you see what happens? You put your hand up there above it, same thing. One hand, two hands. It's going to do the same thing. But that beaver tail kind of helps give you an idea of where to put your hand. So, one hand, grip it, and also, until you're ready to fire the gun, do not put your finger on the trigger. Always leave it straight like this. When you're ready to fire, then put your finger on the trigger. One hand, your other hand, and then your thumb on top of your thumb. That's how I learned how to do it. Other folks might say other, but that's just, it's safe. You're not going to tear your fingers up. But anyhow, that is your semi-automatic, just a basic idea. All right, got a revolver here. It's empty. Now, revolver. You go to fire a revolver, you don't have to worry about the slide coming back, tearing the meat out between your fingers, nothing like that. So that's one thing about it you don't have to worry about. The thing you do have to worry about is I've seen people do this. They'll grab the gun, and then they're wanting to stick their finger up there, and they'll go to fire it. And they'll stick the finger in the trigger hole. Well, you want it like that if you're not going to fire it. When you're ready to fire it, you put your finger in there on the trigger. But what they'll do is they'll have their finger here and there on the trigger, and the other finger, they'll be stuck it straight out in front of it right there. You see beside that cylinder there? That's something I want to show you. You got your finger in there. I know I said not to put your finger on the trigger till you're ready to fire it. But you got your finger in there. You want to fire your gun, and you sit there and you got your finger stuck way out there in front. What happens is whenever that round goes off, there's a burst of fire and pressure that comes out front of this chamber here where the round goes out of the barrel. What that'll do, in a small caliber, it'll bust your finger up a little bit. You don't want that. It'll burn you or bust your finger up. So, that's one thing you learn. Don't put your finger in front of the chamber on a revolver. Now, this old big boy right here, it's empty. Same thing. Don't put your finger on the trigger till you're ready to fire it. But when you are going to fire it, don't stack your hand, stick your finger out there in front of the cylinder. It's a little harder to do you know, being that the cylinder's way out there on this kind of gun, on this size frame. But you can still do it. You stick your finger out in front of this one. You stick your finger out in front of this one. It might blow the end slap off of this old 44 mag right here. You just won't have no finger no more. So you won't have to worry about sticking it out there in front of it no more. And you won't have that problem. But I'd advise not to do it the first time. That way you'll still have your finger there on the end anyhow. So that's just a basic idea. I wanted to come on here, kind of give you an idea how to properly hold it. Like this. Finger off the trigger. And like this. You're firing a revolver. Thumb over there. And down below. Keep all your fingers away from the end of the cylinder. Just a few pointers there. Folks hadn't never really handled a firearm a whole lot. Also, if you haven't handled a firearm, fired a firearm, anything like that, you might want to put one in it at a time, especially in a semi-auto. Just put one in your mag. This isn't the mag for this gun, but you know what I mean. Put one in the mag, cock it, fire it once, see how it's going to act to you. Do that a couple of times, get a good feel of it. That way you don't have one coming in behind it automatically loading, and your finger accidentally hits the trigger and it goes off whenever it recoils. You don't want that. People get hurt that way. Some people don't know no better. But that's just a couple pointers and ideas there. Try to be a little safe. Always point the gun in a safe direction, at the ground. In the air would be better than at somebody else. But even an empty gun, you don't want to be sitting there, this gun's empty, and be talking to everybody and just be flailing it back and forth. Yeah, you know. Even though the gun's empty, one day it might not be. You might think it is. I've had people hand me a gun and say, oh, it's empty, or they didn't even check it, and then I automatically check it. You automatically check a gun, keep it in a safe direction, point it in a safe direction, and automatically check it. Anytime somebody hands you one, or have them check it before they hand it to you. You can't never be too safe. So, I guess that's it for right now. Maybe those pointers will help you out. And don't rely on the safety. A manual safety, factory, any type of safety. The safest thing is to keep the gun in a point in the safe direction. Because the safety will malfunction just like anything else. Your darn laptop crashes and it gives out and acts stupid. Your car acts up. Everything malfunctions that man made. So, always just keep it pointed in a safe direction. There's nothing safer than keeping it in a safe direction. Well, I appreciate you coming to the channel, checking us out. I hope you like, subscribe, share it to your friends, and hope they share it. And Lord will aggravate you later now. Y'all have a blessed one.